Opinions expressed in the following program are not necessarily those of Shaw Cable Systems or of the station. Through our access policy, we provide the opportunity for community groups and individuals to express their points of view.
You are watching Lit Happens, Saskatchewan's showcase of the literary talent of the province. And speaking of literary, we're going to have a great show today because we have Saskatoon Public Library's actual writer-in-residence right here in the studio with us. So welcome to the show, Yvette Nolan.
Thanks, Wes. Nice to be here.
It's great having you here. I think you're the first writer-in-residence we've had here that's actually doing her term while coming up to the studio. We've had previous people, but we've never had the current one, so this is great.
Well, it's great. It's great to be able to come up and visit while I'm in my office. So.
Yeah. Now, we're going to talk about what a writer-in-residence actually does, but first, can we just touch on you? Because you're a great person in yourself before you were even that. So tell us about your career and your life.
Yeah, I am primarily a playwright.
Yes.
I've written 20 some odd plays. Strangely, when I applied to be the writer-in-residence here, I had just left my job at Native Earth Performing Arts as the artistic director, and wanted to write a book on Native theatre.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm writing right now is a book about Native theatre in Canada. I just finished a draft of a play, an adaptation of The Birds by Aristophanes, for a theatre in Richmond, BC, called The Gateway. And I'm just in the middle of writing a draft of a short film for a pal of mine, Shane Belcourt, the director who did Te Toronto. So suddenly it feels like I'm writing in a whole bunch of different places, not just plays.
Yeah, and I don't know if people overall realize that there are people that make a career out of playwriting, and that it's a huge thing.
It actually is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I mean, some are more successful than others. Michael Healy, who wrote The Drawer Boy, has bought a house and financed another family on that play alone. I know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Most of us don't do that. Most of us get sort of one or two productions of a little play and then we write the next one. But sometimes you hit a homer.
Yeah, totally. Just like a book.
Just like a book.
Yeah. Now let's talk about what your current gig is all about, your 9-month gig that you're doing right now. What does a writer-in-residence do?
It's a sweet gig.
Yeah.
I've done residencies in other places, and the Saskatoon Public Library is actually probably the best residency for a writer. I do 2 days a week of office hours, and I see writers, all kinds of writers. Writers who are people who are just starting to write, published novelists like yourself came into my office, people who blog, journalists, people who are switching, poets. I've seen almost every kind of writer at every different stage. It's amazing, and I see so many in 2 days that it could actually be a full-time job.
Yes.
But I'm supposed to do 2 days of work with the library and 3 days of my own writing.
Yes.
So I have to just really be careful about how I manage that. And then as well, I do programs, like I do workshops on writing. We did a really successful one on memory memoir a couple of weeks ago that was really exciting because we actually we worked and we wrote and people came out with material. I'm doing some this month. It's Aboriginal Storytelling Month, so I'm doing some work with kids on banjo stories where we tell stories about my mom's dog, Banjo.
Cool.
Yeah, so all kinds of different programs that I'm delivering, as well as meeting with this huge literary community. It's amazing.
Yeah, is it hard to find a balance?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it's easier for me, I think, because I was running a company, and so I had a million things to do all the time. So I have some training in achieving some kind of balance. But it could feel like this could be a full-time job. You could just meet with the community here.
Yep. Do you feel I've talked to writer-in-residences before, and they sometimes feel that they have been ascended up to some sort of celebrity status for 9 months of their lives.
And then it's back to the fringe for you. It is a little bit like that, and yet to a certain extent, I also feel like I'm I've been really lucky to be injected into this community and meet a whole bunch of who I consider celebrities. Like
Yes.
I've got to meet all kinds of people. Like, oh heavens, like Arthur Slade was, in the studio here, and
Yeah.
there's, like it's like, oh, big shots, right?
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of really important writers, not only who live here but who come here because it's such a vibrant community.
Yes.
So I don't feel like a star in any way. I feel like an egg,
And
I still feel like an egg. Like, oh, look, there's a big cheese.
yeah, good metaphor. Now, one thing I really wanted us to talk about while you were here today is an event that's coming up at the library, one that you are orchestrating, but that I've been privileged that you've asked me to be involved in, and that's Freedom to Read.
Yeah.
Can we throw it out to the viewers? What is Freedom to Read?
Yeah, it's I knew it was a really important event to be doing for the library. We're doing it together, the Saskatoon Public Library, PEN Canada, which is playwrights, essayists, novelists, or poets, essayists, novelists, depending on who you talk to, or both. Sage Hill Writing Experience, and the Saskatchewan Writers Guild. So we're all working together to create an event during Freedom to Read Week, which is the end of February, and our event is on March the 3rd, which is the end of Freedom to Read Week. A public event to sort of celebrate and stand up for reading and the freedom of expression. And, we're trying to make it, we've been talking a lot about it, making it global. So we're bringing in lots of the tweets and stuff from Arab Spring and the Occupy movement.
Yeah.
And but it just gets worse and worse. Like in the paper this weekend, there was an article about the Mexican journalists who are being murdered in Mexico for what they write.
Yeah.
And in China, dissidents who are being snatched after they write and post columns. And then I think, things are so bad in the world. But then I look in Canada, and we're just not above reproach either. I mean, in the last few days, the playwright Michael Healy, who I mentioned before, his play has been pulled from the Tarragon Theatre in Toronto because it's about a prime minister's office and his board of directors. The board of directors got nervous and assumed that they could be sued for libel, and so they've killed the play. So Michael wrote a play about the political system in Canada that's metaphoric or allegorical, and now it's been shut down. It's like, okay, so we can't be so arrogant about the rights that we have here in Canada when really we're still we're still in a way self-censoring, right?
Yes.
And the Library Association just came out with this list of challenged and banned books from last year, and I look at it and it's we're really in a dangerous place in the world, and I think there's no way that in Canada, in Saskatchewan, in Saskatoon, that we're not affected by the fear of the written word. And it's good because the written word is powerful.
Yeah. And I think it's safe to say that some of us, myself, we could easily just go into our bubble and pretend this doesn't exist, but we shouldn't go there.
No, we have to stand up for the right to read and say and to support people, even if we don't agree with what they say.
Yes.
Stand up for the right to say it and to have some kind of public dialogue about it.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, you don't even know yet, but
no,
I'm writing you a script. We're
Great.
going to read bits of work from around the world and in Canada, challenged books, banned books, the tweets. I asked Michael Healy, if we could have a piece of his play to read. Since they're not going to produce it, we'll say it out here in Saskatoon. He's like, oh, that's scary. So it's a public event to sort of celebrate the fact that we still have the ability to write what we want and speak what we need to say.
Yeah, and that we need to be keenly aware that we have this enrichedness in our life. And it wasn't all that long ago that in North America, people were still burning books and
absolutely,
sort of
they're
stuff
still being challenged. I know you just got on the curriculum. Dead Rock Stars just got on the curriculum, right?
Yes, I'm pretty happy about that.
I'm like, how long before someone challenges that book? I think we should read part of Dead Rock Stars on freedom of expression.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say no, that's for sure. Well, this has been very enlightening for me and I'm sure for the viewers. So where can people find information on Freedom to Read Week?
There's, well, the library website, of course,
Yeah,
Saskatoon
which is
Library.
a very user-friendly website.
That's right,
Yep.
and we hope to get more user-friendly. The library news is around in libraries and public places to pick up. Yeah, and watch for the posters. There's going to be posters, and we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we use all the social media, so people can find their way to the library on March the 3rd, and listen to us say the words, and then have some coffee and some cookies with us.
Oh, it'll be just great. I'm so excited. And we should also say that library news is free. And it's I see it all over the city. I see it all over the province.
Yeah, it's kind of great
Yep.
that we still have free libraries, that we
Yep.
still, I came from Toronto where they're shutting libraries.
Yeah, that's alarming.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And we should also say that the event itself is free.
It is.
Yeah.
And so's the coffee and so's the cookies.
Yeah, well, free coffee, words, cookies, three of my favorite things. So
Where nurture the soul, nurture the body.
yeah. Well, I just want to thank you for coming up here today and enlightening us all on Freedom to Read Week and just the shtick of a writer in residence.
Yeah.
So it was just really, really divine
Great.
to have you here.
Thanks, Wes.
You're very welcome. That's all the time we have today for Lit Happens. If you enjoyed today's episode, you can watch previous episodes on the Shaw TV website. And you can watch previous episodes on my website, westfunk.ca. You can also go to our Facebook page and like us. So I will see you next time on Lit Happens.